Interesting experience being stopped by the police on a Sunday in town.
Well, just bear with me 2 minutes, run a couple of checks, and hopefully you'll be able to wait. I'm just going to take those just for a second. Alright, just bear with me a minute, alright? Cheers.
2 police officers. I am concerned about the reason for the stop. So that's what I'm concerned about. So because we should be able to drive wherever we want in London, because you're not just contained to the area where you live.
No, of course.
So that is my concern. So, like, if you're just profiling people who are driving outside their area, I think that's a ridiculous reason to stop. If you're profiling people who are driving a certain type of car, that's an inappropriate reason to stop. And if you're profiling people because of the colour of their skin, that's an inappropriate reason to stop people. I'm a member of Parliament. So this is really quite interesting to me, because I've been doing a lot of work with the police and stop and search, and how the police are stopping and searching. And actually the way you do it and the way you profile is wrong, because what you do is you create an environment where you create animosity. So, and it is really quite irritating. So it's like you cannot drive around and enjoy a Sunday afternoon whilst black because you're going to be stopped by the police.
Yeah, right. In response, Deputy Commissioner Sir Steve House defended the officers who said that they had acted professionally and politely. He also noted that officers did not know the occupants of the car, including their ethnicity, because the car windows were tinted. Let's look at this with Norman Brennan, retired cop, of course. He did over 30 years in the Met and now director of the Law and Order Foundation. I'm imagining, firstly, Norman, you're delighted to hear Sir Steve House's defence of the officers.
Well, absolutely, but we want him to go further than that. We want him to release the video, the body-worn cameras for the officers. And the thing is, Ian, what's happening now is there's a narrative on social media that anybody that has a run-in with the police, you get an avalanche of anti-police people and haters of the police, make up their own minds on a short clip of video, and that goes viral. And the thing is, if we never ever challenge it, suddenly a lie, some people think, becomes the truth. And there's a big saying that we all know of, and it's this, is that a lie can be halfway around the world before the truth has got its trousers on. And when it comes to these sort of videos and condemnation of the Metropolitan Police and the British Police Service, that's the effect it's having. And it's having a detrimental effect on the police and how we are able to police the streets of London and Britain. This is a situation the other day. 2 response vehicles were in the area to crack down on gun and knife crime and murder and drug dealing. The absolute curse of London at the moment, and to stop people killing each other. They're driving behind a vehicle, the windows are tinted, they don't got a clue how many occupants are in there or even the colour. They do a check, which is called, and you know what I mean, a PNC, Police National Computer Check, and it showed that the vehicle, because the digit had been put in wrong, an error that I've made when I was in the police, and it came back that the vehicle was registered to somebody in Yorkshire. Well, we want to know what it was doing in a high crime area, well off its area, in London. So we pulled it over, and then the officers got out and started speaking to the occupant. It wasn't Miss Butler that was driving, she was a passenger, but she took it upon herself. As soon as the police stopped them, instead of listening to what the police were going to say, she started recording. And when the police went over, she took over everything. And she did not even allow the officers to explain
couldn't get a word in. The poor, who was an incredibly polite, very calm officer, could not seem to get a word.
The stopping of Dawn Butler is probably the biggest non-story in history, yet it has gone around the world. And as Sir Steve House has said today, his officers acted absolutely in accordance with what anybody would expect. They were not rude as soon as they realised there was a small error. Instead of Dawn Butler and the driver, who we've heard nothing about, saying, look, thank you very much indeed, officer, I completely understand. Thank goodness you're out and about trying to stop these stabbings and murders. What they do is they condemn the police. They call it cancerous institutional racism. I'm actually writing to the home of the Parliamentary Standards Committee, because enough is enough, and also to Boris Johnson. And I'm going to say to the whole of Parliament, you either support the Metropolitan Police and the police service around Britain, or you stand aside and allow the murders and the gun crime and the drug trafficking to destroy hundreds, if not thousands of lives and families, or you allow the police to do the job that they're to do. They've got body-worn cameras, and instead of condemning them, start supporting them. Unless people like Dawn Butler start doing that, it will be her that's part of the problem rather than the solution.
And if the election had gone the other way, she'd have been part of the government, which is perhaps for many even more worrying. Norman, thank you. Norman Brennan, retired cop of 31 years. He's the director of the Law and Order Foundation, with us here on Talk Radio.